doing?
Good. Very good.
Alright. My name is Sergeant McQuinn. I've been a Civil War reenactor for over 30 years. I'm with the 57th North Carolina Company K Hoax Brigade. I was in the movie Gettysburg at 10 years old as a drummer boy. I was also in the movie Gods and Generals. I've also been on 23 different independent films about the Civil War. I've also been a paranormal investigator for 19 years. I've investigated with the likes of Jason Hawes, Steve, Tango, Amy Bruni, Chip Coffey, Bill Hartley, Elizabeth Saint, and Nick Groff. They're all really good friends of mine. Myself and my team, we've investigated as far north as Maine, as far south as Georgia and Alabama. Okay? We're going to have a lot of fun this evening while we're on tour. If you guys want to record, take pictures, if you guys have some paranormal equipment, you're more than welcome to use it. Now, before we get started on the tour, we're going to talk a couple safety issues. One, we are going to be crossing the road, but don't you worry, because I do have the lantern of safety. It's going to keep us safe tonight. If it does not, don't worry. I just get to become part of the tour later on. No big deal. We are going to be walking through town and crossing the roads. Now, the roads and sidewalks are very uneven, so please be careful. I will try to point out all the uneven areas here in town while we're walking. Now, the people that are walking past us on the sidewalk, they do have the right of way, so please let them go by. Okay? Now, if anyone, because it's really hot out, if anyone starts to not feel good or feel lightheaded, please let me know. If you guys have to leave the tour early, please let me know. So that way at the end of the tour, I am not running around the battlefield and of course the entire downtown area looking for missing people. Okay? Now, as a historian, I have heard pretty much every stupid question there has been asked. So don't be afraid to ask any questions. One of the questions we always get asked, why aren't there any bullet holes in the monuments? Another question we get asked is, why does it seem like every battle was fought on a national park? And of course, one of my other favorite ones, if you've been on the battlefield and you know about the high water mark at Pickett's Charge, people have come to the visitor center and asked, where do we get the boat ride tickets for the high water mark? And of course, one of my other favorites is, what do you all do with the monuments during the winter? Well, working at the visitor center, I'm sometimes a jokester, and I say, well, during the winter, what we do is when we close, there's a big red button in the basement. It says, push me. We push it and all the monuments go underground. We wait till the next day till each park ranger is at a certain area giving a tour. They'll walkie-talkie us and say, hey, we're at this monument. We'll push that button in the monument, we'll come up. When they leave, we'll go back down. People look at me and say, is that really true? And of course I start laughing. I say, no. Because if that was true, the Ewok village is up on Little Round Top, okay? So, exactly, right? So, but we're going to have a lot of fun this evening. Like I said, if you guys have a great time this evening, and you guys don't mind, at the end of the tour, tips are appreciated at the end of the tour. Like I said, if you guys have any questions throughout the tour, please let me know. But we're going to start right here. This is the most lifelike statue of Abraham Lincoln you will ever see. In 1860, they did a live cast of his hands. In 1865, they did actually do a live cast of his face. That's exactly what Abraham Lincoln looked like back then. Also, that's the exact height he was. He was 6'4". And of course, everything on the monument of all the clothes he's wearing is the exact same size that he would have worn back then. And of course, his famous top hat. You see it's up in his hand. Well, he's pointing up to the third window on the third floor. That is where Lincoln stayed when he gave the Gettysburg Address, where he finished the Gettysburg Address. Now, the guy who actually created this monument and statue, his name was Seward Johnson. Seward Johnson was actually part of the Johnson & Johnson pharmacy family who just wasn't interested in drugs. He wanted to do sculptures and statues. The gentleman next to Lincoln is supposed to be the everyday tourist just like you all. Yep. But if you guys look closely, it's actually Perry Como. He was a famous singer. And of course, he's holding a copy of the Gettysburg Address. All right. Now, we're going to go ahead and start walking towards the Hotel Gettysburg. All right. Now, if I start walking too fast tonight in front of everybody, just yell at me and say, hey, Johnny, slow down. If I start walking too slow, just push me. But either way, we're going to get through this tonight, all right? Let's go all and have some fun.
Okay, well, I'll wait for somebody else to do it then.
I'm actually from Georgia.
Hey, good.
But I had an ancestor from
This time we got Glenn, my cousin, also my other cousin, Evan. This is Glenn. And my other sister. My name is Mom. And lots of people here, I don't know at all. One video. Or three, which probably have not seen. It's the Phantoms.
First stop safely. I like it. All right. Now we are at the Hotel Gettysburg. Now the funny thing is that at the beginning of this week they just rebranded it. It used to be called the Gettysburg Hotel. 5 days ago they just rebranded it the Hotel Gettysburg. So absolutely. Now this hotel was actually used as a field hospital during the Battle of Gettysburg. The only difference in this hotel is those 2 top floors were not here during the battle. What was actually up there on the roof though on the first day of battle was a bunch of kids from Gettysburg watching the battle. You can see their feet dangling from the roof. So they're up there watching the cannons firing, artillery shells flying all over the place, soldiers running around killing each other. It's pretty crazy. Or I have no idea where their parents were. Maybe they're at a local tavern. I have no idea. Having a good time, right? Now, the hotel is haunted by a nurse. Her name is Nurse Rachel. She haunts the 3rd floor, but actually the one room that she hangs out in the most is actually room 311. That room is reserved in a year in advance because of the activity in that room. Now, in that room, people have actually seen her. They've actually heard her singing, talking. They've even seen her go through a wall. She's actually cursing like a sailor, though, normally when she's actually being seen. You can hear her on the 3rd floor, and she's going up and down 3rd floor, yelling and screaming and cursing like a sailor. She's looking for the bandages that she's short on. Well, I had a couple people stay in room 311 just a few weeks ago. After my tour, they went to Dollar General. They bought a bunch of Ace bandages and Band-Aids. Before they went to bed, they said, Rachel, these are for you, you can have them. They went to bed, they woke up the next morning, all the bandages and Band-Aids were gone. They couldn't find them anywhere. They even came down to the front desk and they said, did housekeeping come in a room in the middle of the night? No, no one came in. So if you guys ever stay here, make sure you guys reserve room 311. Now in the ballroom, there is a ghost and she actually wears a beautiful blue ball gown. There's a lady in blue that dances all the time, but it's funny, she's only there when there's big time events like weddings or anniversaries or conferences. You'll actually see her dance in the ballroom. When people see her, she all of a sudden disappears. Now in the basement, there's actually a bank vault there, which they found in 2001. There used to be a bank here in the late 1800s. Now there's also a bomb bunker in the basement, and that's because in 1955, when President Eisenhower was recovering from his heart attack, he actually had a lot of meetings here at the Hotel Gettysburg, and they wanted to make sure he was safe. So this was the temporary White House for President Eisenhower in 1955. Also, when he was back home at the Eisenhower farm, that was the temporary White House. Now, at the bomb shelter, they actually tell me that's where they keep all the really good liquor and wine, but they won't let us down there. I have no idea. Maybe they don't trust us because we're Johnny Rebs. I have no idea. But if you guys ever come stay here, make sure you guys stay in room 311. And of course, this hotel almost burned all the way down to the ground in 1983. Now, it was such a big part of the town's history, they actually rebuilt it where it is today, and it reopened in 1991. And like I said, 5 days ago, they rebranded from the Gettysburg Hotel to the Hotel Gettysburg. Great way to spend money.
Yep.
That is the ghost police, everybody.
Of course, right there. So nice. Very funny too.
That's the ghost police. You can get $150 ticket if you have more than 25 people on the floor.
Ah, the band's over there.
She likes needle moves and for somebody.
You got the music.
Honestly, give music a background noise.
It feels like we're both recording. It's just
You must not record recording. You must not record the recording.
When you're recording, his recording, and mine is. Wait, what if you're recording?
We both the same idea.
What if you
Recording. Somebody will move you here.
All right, now we are here at the Majestic Theater. Has anyone been here before? No?
I never knew this even existed.
Well, 30 years ago, this is where we did the premiere of the movie Gettysburg. They actually had this whole road closed down. Why? Because they had all the limos pulling up. You had Sam Elliott getting out of limo. You had Martin Sheen. Martin actually brought his son Charlie. He was a character then, just like he is today. Patrick Gorham. You had Stephen Lang, Jeff Daniels. They were all here. It was a wonderful time here in town 30 years ago. Well, this past November, we just celebrated the 30th year anniversary of the movie being premiered. So what did we do? All the Hollywood stars came back, all of us reenactors, and we came and watched the movie all together again here this past November. Now, in the theater, though, it's actually haunted by 3 little ghost children. These ghost children run around, they cause a lot of havoc. They'll actually move all the chairs, they'll flip the chairs up and down, they'll mess with the lighting, they'll mess with the projector. They even mess with kids and people's popcorn and candy. People have actually been sitting here watching a movie with popcorn and seeing the popcorn float out of their container. So I always tell people, make sure you have your hand over the popcorn or those ghost children are going to get them. It's also haunted by a Confederate general. They actually see the general actually sitting on stage. Anytime they actually do a theater show here, he actually sits there. They're actually up in the ladder working on all the lighting, and they'll look down, they'll see a Confederate general sitting there. Well, the crazy thing is, he's got a white beard, he's got white hair, and they actually say he kind of looks like General Lee. And the joke has always been is, well, it's General Lee, we're just making sure those Yankees are doing their job properly. Now, when we're walking back down to the train station here, I'll show you guys exactly what the theater looks like. But this theater is still in use today, as you can tell. They do a summer series of all the classic movies. They also do theater shows. And of course, just a few months ago, they did another premiere here called Christmas in Gettysburg. Now, this whole town was dressed up for Christmas for about 11 months. People were coming here to visit, and they saw Christmas trees, and they saw the window decorations, and they were like, what is going on? And no one could say anything. All they could say is, in the fall of 2024, you might see it on the Hallmark Channel. So, this fall, around October, November, when they have all the Christmas movies come out, you guys might see Christmas in Gettysburg. And then you can be like, hey, we were there during the ghost tour, and we were there for the ghost tour. So that was actually a wonderful movie. When they actually show it in the fall, they're going to do actually a big showing here again. And the Hollywood stars that were in that movie are going to come and watch it as well with all the other people in town. So, but this is the Majestic Theater. While we're walking down, we are going to stop. I'll show you guys exactly what the Majestic Theater looks like inside.
She's actually recording.
As are mine.
They were here. There's the Majestic.
Now, while we're walking by, we will stop here and you guys can take a look. This is exactly what the theater looks like inside. You guys want to slide down here so that way everyone can take a look, see what the theater looks like.
There's the Majestic.
And of course, this is the stage that they see the Confederate general on. And when they're up here working on all the lighting for theater shows, this is where they see the Confederate general. Now, my team actually investigated this theater about 11 years ago. And when we did, we actually caught one of the ghost children. We actually had a camera and a tripod set up over here. Well, all of a sudden we heard this little kid laughing. Next thing we knew, our tripod and our camera went flying. Okay, and after that, all of a sudden, all these chairs in this area started moving. And all of a sudden you heard laughter again. So like I said, if you ever come see a show here, be careful of those ghost children. They're gonna get you.
I don't think that'd be funny, honestly, seeing crazy things happen.
I want to come here one day and just, I
Seriously, I can
I just wanna see
when you were
someone
from the
think
Gettysburg Command, I thought the movie here, that'd be pretty cool.
Virtual reality experience. Sure. Little VR action mode.
Oh, that's crazy. They don't really have that one here.
July 1863. Isn't it crazy our house is built around this time?
Yeah, it is. Big crazy. Train right here.
And here it comes.
Look at the
Here
old
it
station.
comes.
Really cool. It's beautiful out here.
Still doing good, right? That's what we're talking about. Good. You're making sure you're getting water for your puppy, right?
It's hot out here in
the
street.
street.
It is.
Okay.
Seriously.
Did you know your puppy's name was?
All right, we are here at the train station. Now, the train station was actually built and finished in 1859. The train tracks actually stopped right here in 1859. They didn't go any further. Now, the rest of the railroad here, they got finished about 1866. Now, at the train station, when Abraham Lincoln came in for the Gettysburg Address, his steam engine stopped right there in front of the train station.
Wow.
It was amazing. You had the brass band here, you had all the politicians, you had all the kids in town, you had everyone from the surrounding counties and states here. Lincoln actually spent about 3 hours down here greeting everybody. Lincoln was a people person. So he actually spent a lot of time down here. It was a wonderful time in town when he was here for the Gettysburg Address. It was not like that though during the Battle of Gettysburg. The train station was actually used as a field hospital. And of course, when us Confederates start pushing the Union back through town, you have soldiers falling everywhere. It's one big skedaddle here with the Union Army, and they're running up towards trying to get to Cemetery Hill to be safe. So they're running through town here, and there's soldiers falling everywhere. Supposedly about 1,200 casualties just happened in this area. Now, after the battle, of course, there are bodies and horses and cattle everywhere and wagons, right? Well, of course, all the kids after the battle, they're wandering around town. They're picking up all kinds of items. Well, right down that way, right near the railroad cut, all these kids are actually picking up some items, belt buckles and everything. Well, one kid picks up a revolver.
Do it.
And what do kids do when they do that? They play army, right? And they do bang, got you, bang, I got you. Well, there was actually a little girl that lived close by. She saw what these boys were doing. She went outside and said, that's not safe. Put the revolver down. It's not safe. Someone's going to get hurt. Well, the kid, of course, said, I don't need to listen to you. Pointed it right at her, and accidentally, it went off. It went off and shot her right through the chest. She fell and passed away, unfortunately. Now, people have actually seen her spirit for 161 years here down the train tracks here, and also near a cemetery called a pauper cemetery. A pauper cemetery is where they actually bury all the homeless. Now, when Gettysburg College was expanding, they wanted to build right where she was actually killed and on the pauper cemetery where she was buried at. Well, when they were actually moving all of the coffins and all the bodies from the pauper cemetery, there was a small coffin. They opened it up because the whole lid was cracked. They actually found remains of a 10-year-old girl with actually a shot right through her chest and her remains. There was a rock in that coffin that said Dinah. They actually think that's the little girl that the boys accidentally killed. People have seen her, like I said, for 161 years. Now, about 10 years ago, there were a couple girls here in town taking pictures. They were visiting the campus. Well, while they're visiting the campus, they're going all around the downtown area, around the campus, the train tracks, everywhere. The one girl gets home. She's going through all of her pictures. All of a sudden, she finds a picture of a girl in a white dress about this tall with a red blood stain on her dress. She actually calls the ghost of Dinah. Now, this train tracks are also haunted by some Union soldiers. Now, the crazy thing is, 12 years ago, myself and our reenactment group, we were doing a living history at the Gettysburg campus. One night, about 1:30 in the morning, Lincoln Diner used to be 24/7. So we were hungry. It's about 1:30 in the morning. We leave our encampment all in uniform. We start walking up here. We get to the train tracks up here and we hear soldier movement. We hear horses. We hear wagons. We look down this way, don't see anything. We look down that way, we see actually 2 Union soldiers. We actually thought they're fellow reenactors. So what do? We're like, hey, Billy Yanks, what are y'all doing in our part of town? Well, they don't say anything. One lifts up a rifle like this. Next thing we know, a phantom shot goes off. We hear this loud yell. We look back and our major is on the ground, hands and knees, screaming in pain. We think he's kidding. We're actually tapping with our foot. We're like, come on, get up, man, get up. Well, he was not. He had tears coming down his cheeks. We look back down here, those soldiers are gone. Well, we actually have to carry him all the way back to our encampment. We actually don't get to go to the diner at all. We take his jacket off, we take his vest and his shirt off. He's got a welt the size of a baseball on his chest. He actually had a bruise for 4.5 weeks, and he has an indent from that phantom mini ball that hit him. Well, it gets crazier. A couple years later when I meet Nick Groff. When Nick Groff was still in Ghost Adventures with Zach Bagans, they did an episode here in Gettysburg. And they were actually filming around 2:30 in the morning in this area. And they actually had Civil War revolvers, they had Civil War kepis on, they were firing these revolvers off, trying to trigger something. Well, they trigger, actually, they see 2 soldiers on thermal camera down here. One lifts up a rifle, it looks like, and a shot is heard. They actually caught what we experienced years before. So when I actually got to meet Nick, we talked about it. I actually watched that episode then with Nick, and it was pretty crazy that I was like, that's exactly what we actually experienced that night a couple years ago. So I always tell people, if they're down here early morning, look out for those Billy Yank soldiers down there. They don't like anybody, okay? Now down the street here is Gettysburg College. There's some frat houses down here. Well, in one of the frat houses, people have seen a Confederate soldier in the hallway every time they throw a huge party. Every time they throw a party, people will be walking down and walking past the hallway. They see a Confederate soldier in the hallway at the end of it. They actually wave him like, come on, join us, come on, join us. But he takes 2 steps and it's like he can't move any more forward. He actually turns and goes into the wall, kind of like a residual haunting. Well, that's been actually seen now for over 100 years here. And actually just a few months ago, before the end of the school year, that frat had a party. And actually some of the frat guys were actually on one of my tours before the end of the school year. And they actually said, we actually saw that ghost. He actually hangs out in our frat house. So they were actually pretty shocked that people have seen him before they have. But this is the train station. The train station was used as a field hospital. I'm going to go down the line. I'm going to show you guys exactly what the downtown area looked like down at the circle around June 26, 1863. So that way when we're walking back up through downtown area, you guys will know exactly what it looked like back then. I'll pull this up and I'll go down the line and show you guys exactly what the square area looked like. Now, while we're walking through town tonight, I will try to point out every single Civil War building that was here. But I will tell you this, not every building that was here has been investigated. So I cannot tell you what happens in every single building here in town. And this is June 26, 1863, and of course this is a painting of it.
It looks so much more different.
Yep,
There's
it was
not
different.
one road. This is the weird part.
Oh, no worries. No worries. All right, we all good? All right, we're going to start walking back up to the square.
Lincoln Diner. It's really called Lincoln Diner. I love Gettysburg. We all love Gettysburg. It extends over all the such much goes all over there. It's so Hey, Glenn. Would Doug say something to
He
the
has no
camera?
chance.
Oh, that. Oh, you sit down?
Just gotta find us. Excuse me.
Got everybody? All right. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Now we are here, of course, at the square. Now, a lot of people think the Confederates only start coming into Gettysburg on July 1st, which started the battle. The Confederates are actually in and around Gettysburg for the whole month of June. Well, on June 26th, the 35th Virginia Cavalry and early civilians start coming down Chambersburg Street. They're shooting revolvers, they're making a lot of noise, and they come riding into the circle here. They start going into buildings, grabbing supplies. They're also taking prisoners of some of the Pennsylvania Gettysburg militia. Well, during this time, there's actually a gentleman that actually lives in town. His name is John Burns. He's a veteran of 2 wars, Wars of 1812 and Mexican War. At the time, he is 69 years old. Well, he comes down here and confronts us Confederates. And he starts yelling at the Confederates. He says, "My name's John Burns. I'm the constable of Gettysburg. You're in my town and I don't want you in my town. You must leave or else." And he keeps threatening the Confederates. Well, the Confederates get so tired of it, they actually arrest him and bring him all the way up to his own jail in High Street. And he is so angry that he's in his own jail for 2 days. Well, the Confederates leave to go towards York, Pennsylvania to meet up with General Johnston. John Burns gets out, he goes home, and he is telling his wife how mad he is. And he says one day he's going to get his revenge on those Johnny Reds who threw him in jail. Well, he doesn't have to wait that long, because here comes July 1st. John Burns is at his home with his wife. He hears all the artillery fire and musket fire going off. He tells his wife, "I'm going to go fight." So he goes upstairs and he gets in his best Sunday dress. His blue coat, his gold vest, his gold buttons, and a white beaver top hat. He goes downstairs in front of his fireplace, grabs his old flintlock musket. He grabs it, leaves the house, starts walking down to the gunfire. Well, he gets down to McPherson's Ridge in McPherson's Woods. He runs into a famous regiment called the Bucktails. He then talks to a colonel and says, "I want to fight." Well, of course, the colonel says, "You're too old, you got to get out of here, it's not safe, you have to leave." He says, "I'm a veteran, I can shoot, I'll prove it to you." Well, they know they're not going to get rid of John Burns easily. So, of course, they say, "Fine, you can fight, but you can't fight with that, that thing's too old." They give him a Springfield rifle. They said, "You can stand behind this tree, and when you see the Confederates coming, you can shoot at them." He did not like that answer. He says, "No, I want to be out there in the front lines with the boys. I can shoot, I'm a veteran." Well, he gets his wish. He goes out to the front lines, and he's fighting with all the young guys of the Bucktails. He actually holds his own. He wounds 3 Confederate soldiers and kills 3 Confederates, including an officer off his force. Well, during this time, they're kind of holding their own, but eventually Confederates start fully engaging. They bring reinforcements up, and they outnumber the Union. When that happens, they start doing the big skedaddle back here towards town. John Burns is wounded 3 times during this retreat. He does make it home, but of course his wife gives him crap the whole time when he gets home because she has to take care of him. Well, after the Battle of Gettysburg, he then tells everybody in town he is the hero of Gettysburg. He took on the whole Confederate army all by himself. And if it wasn't for his actions, they would have never won the battle. And he actually keeps to that story all up to the day he dies. Now we're here in a ghost tour. We probably wouldn't be here if it wasn't for crazy old John Burns, because 2 years before he passes, he wanted to relive that glory day of July 1st. So one evening, he gets in his best Sunday dress again, grabs his cane, starts walking down to the battlefield. He gets towards McPherson's Woods. The sun has now gone down. All of a sudden, he sees a Confederate soldier rushing at him out of the woods, full bayonet charge at him. Mr. John Burns, Mr. Hero of Gettysburg, drops his cane, hightails it all the way back here to town. He tells everybody he just saw a Confederate ghost. And of course, everyone makes fun of him because he's the hero of Gettysburg. He took on the whole Confederate army all by himself, but he's afraid of one ghost. Well, he tells everybody that one ghost is soldiers he thought he killed during the Battle of Gettysburg. And he never returns there to that part of the battlefield ever again. And John Burns, of course, goes on to be the first ever battlefield tour guide here in Gettysburg until the day he dies. We're going to be talking about good old John Burns out the tour some more this evening. Now, we're going to be walking by, we're going to be walking past the band, and we're going to be going up the street then.
The sweetest part of the band, my girls, my girls.
I love the move.
It's time for a sweet bomb.
Intelligence. I want this to all people that lose my sight.
Where did they come from?
This is like an all Jewish shop. There's some girls in there.
Where did they come from?
Right there. You go from my hotel.
Yeah, like, what street?
Just feeling it when you like.
Yes,
I saw you did a
Yeah.
little.
Yeah, me too. I was like,
It's a good song.
I said 5
Get moving, moving.
How long have you been holding?
32 minutes, and I'm going to go on until this tour ends. So basically, a whole entire hour-long video is going to be made on my phone today.
Wow.
But I'm gonna put onto YouTube right after I'm done making this. I'm gonna install it onto YouTube and I'm gonna delete it off my phone, so it takes up no space at the end of the day. Oh, now we're on Creepy Alleyway. That kind of perfect. Okay, that's also Creepy Alleyway 5.
I'm looking to see if there's
We're about to be talking about that here in a second.
Oh, yes. We're from Richmond, so we know all
Okay.
about cannonballs still in the buildings. We have all the original cobblestone.
If everyone wants to come down here on this side of the wall. Now, of course, we're here in an alleyway. And the reason why is the building right behind you guys was not here during the battle, but this one was. If you guys look straight up right above me, you guys will actually see a thing that looks like a black coffee can sticking out of the building. That's actually a 12-pound Parrott artillery shell fired from Cemetery Hill. Does everybody see that?
Yep, I'd assumed it on it.
Now, when the Confederates started pushing the Union back through town, the Union Army in Cemetery Hill were actually firing down this way. They're actually firing on their own men and on the Confederates. We are going to see more damage like that throughout the town tonight. We're going to start walking up the town.
Well, that's kind of
That's
stupid.
a big ass show.
If people want to stay here real quick, I'll be right back.
Where's he going?
I think he's getting water.
Lucky him.
Can't blame them. It's so hot out
I
here.
know.
I hate how much hot it is out here, man. I hate this. It's after 8 o'clock, but it's still absurdly hot out here.
It's really warm, Blake.
I don't care, it's water.
Really?
It's water.
Tug it off.
It is water. It is
Yeah,
water.
just drink a little bit. It's for everybody. God, you're tanned out yet. Look how tan her feet are. Good God.
Thanks.
Jesus. She's like Chinese. Or
It's
something.
still frustrating.
No, that's the tannin lotion she uses.
Nah, but if she's Chinese, she's got like natural.
That helps.
Hey,
It does. Well,
I've got some hot water.
Look at that.
It is pretty hot water. It's pretty hot though.
Nothing. She even uses
I've been
nothing.
using sunscreen. I'm dead serious. Yeah. I know it's shocking. That's why I'm saying it like that.
All right, hold on. If you say it like this,
Oh.
it means it's serious. Would you
Glenn
like?
wants some.
I'm
She's been using
sun.
sunscreen, Glenn. Sunscreen. Oh, sweet Glenn. Sunscreen. It's double S. Sunscreen.
Glenn wants some.
Listen, Johnny.
Len wants some water.
Here you go.
I do?
He doesn't.
You want water? You said you wanted water.
No, I
You want hot water? You want some hot water? I'm gonna pour it on you like a shower. Do you really? Listen, Johnny. Gosh darn. Tie-dye shirt. McGee. Butt face. Listen.
Like she looks younger.
Yeah. When he comes back.
We're like, oh, she's just so little. I was like, oh, yeah, no,
Oh, yeah, we want to let this other tour.
Blake,
Watch out.
Sorry. Paying for a tour guide. Our tour guide disappeared. All right, let's go up here, I guess.
1 month younger than
Let's try and look at what we're looking at.
We don't have a plan to go yet. We don't know where to go.
Dad, where are you going?
I think we're going this way, right?
But our tour guide isn't here, so
The baby
Yeah.
was walking around like, nothing too serious.
oh, the truck is right here. A truck. Don't ask why. Is there not hot water in there? It's like a.
It's just hot. Yeah, there's. Yep, all the water's gone.
No, because he said something about it.
Go off, Kim. Now go round the bottle.
Oh no, he.
He goes,
No, I know.
He's gonna suck it all.
He did it earlier. I was like, Cameron's. No, it's the camera's stuck.
He's gonna suck it all, but I'm gonna stop. He's gonna suck it all. He's gonna.
Oh no, he's like, all
Dad,
right,
he's gonna suck it all.
he said he was going
it's fine. Nobody wants that hot ass water.
I
Yeah.
do.
No, you don't. I'll get you some more water. You don't want that hot water. Plus, he just put his whole mouth on it. Like literally, his whole inside of his mouth.
It was hot.
Savannah's like, she just spit it everywhere.
Yeah. Hey, you go every time like one comic movie guy goes like,
No hot water.
Our tour guy just like concentrated.
You just kind of roll it out. Do you guys want to leave or we want to do it?
He said he was going to come here with you. I don't know what.
Well,
He said I'm just cutting. He said I'm dipping. Bro, why are we all fighting?
okay, I'll start recording when something interesting happens. We cut like a couple minutes. Got like a couple seconds.
did we cover the Gettysburg Hotel?
Yes.
Fantastic. Did we cover Old John Burns?
Yes.
The beginning.
Johnny Red, yes.
Okay.
My bad, I know him as Colin.
Okay.
the last thing we did
Johnny
was this
Red.
wall with the shell in the
Oh,
wall.
fantastic. You
Yep.
got the carrot shell? All right,
And we got the railroad.
and you got the railroad.
Yep.
Awesome, then I know exactly where we are. Let's go.
Yeah,
All right,
let's
then.
Woo.
Okay.
Let's go. We're now back, my dudes. We're now back.
Yeah, he was really
got that whole.
Set a finger back.
Like he's happy.
The entire time he seems fine.
Yeah, he seemed very fine.
Yeah.
He said that.
The best recording.
Savannah, I did stop recording. This is basically I'm gonna combine both these videos into one giant video and then post it. You know?
Why are you going to
Come on, move your butts, people. What are you waiting for? Christmas or something?
Yeah.
I'm waiting for Christmas too. It's freaking hot.
all right.
Oh, the wind just came. It feels so good.
All right, let's go. Quick, pitch. Look, it's number one. We gotta go. Like a really trying to. Why is everybody kicking my butt? I paid for everybody. And y'all are just drinking
And this is one of the stops, guys, where we actually get to sit down. So everybody, please have a seat on the steps.
Yeah.
Go up top.
Yeah. And we go stop.
Oh God.
There's no room for me up there. I'd not sit right here.
Adams County Courthouse. This was the courthouse in 1863.
Well, I'll stay on the
It's still the courthouse today. But what makes this place actually a little bit unusual is that it was a field hospital for the Confederates during the Battle of Gettysburg. Now, medicine wasn't exactly the same back in 1863 as it is Now, but they do have some similarities. One of those similarities is the way they do amputations. Now, I'm going to tone this down because I have a whole lot of little people with me today, but in 1863, amputations were done very much the same way as they are done today, and it was the single most common operation that was done in this field hospital as well as all of the other field hospitals that were here during the Battle of Gettysburg. The biggest difference is in 1863, they didn't have this lovely little thing we call anesthesia. Now, it's not that they didn't have any kind of numbing medications. They had ether and they had chloroform, but that wasn't exactly enough to keep you under while you were being carved on to go ahead and have those things taken apart, have your arm taken apart. The other thing is people have this mistaken idea that if you go in, let's say that you got shot in the hand right here. Now it would come through, and this is a survivable wound, except that the type of weapons that they used what was called mini ball. There's nothing mini or ball shaped about them. They're a little oblong piece of lead that has little grooves in it that are perfect for picking up bacteria and dirt, and almost guaranteed that you were going to get an infection if you got hit with one of these things. So now this survivable wound has become infected, you've got gangrene, now your hand has to come off. Except that, did Colin tell you guys how many people were injured during the Battle of Gettysburg?
No.
Okay. Well, during the Battle of Gettysburg, there were roughly 160,000 men fighting on the field. That is a rough estimate. There were roughly 80,000 on both sides. That's not an exact quote for all of you major history nerds out there. It's been a while since I've done this tour, and my numbers are kind of rusty.
I'm a major.
But what I do know is there were 50,000 men who were wounded in action, killed in action, or missing and presumed dead during the battle alone. In 1863, there were only 2,400 citizens of this teeny tiny little town, and we were overrun by the Confederate and the Union Army. Keep in mind, the vast majority of those 50,000 men were wounded, and they went through these field hospitals. Expediency became incredibly important. They were getting people as quickly as they could through, and they were having these amputations done. So that little hand wound that you had, you've got two bones in your lower arm, got sawed through. There's only one bar of bone in your upper arm. So now where you might have lost the arm below the elbow, now you're going to lose it up to the shoulder. And the bones are a little bit thicker when they go through as well. Now, you do all of this without proper anesthetics. Had about a 50-50 chance of living once you had a wound that you would have survived in modern day. Unfortunately, that means there were and a whole lot of body parts that wound up being discarded right here in this courthouse. In fact, in 1978, when they built the annex building right next door, they thought they found 71 more bodies. What they actually found was parts, 71 bodies. They found one of the amputation pits that had been thrown out of this particular field hospital. They just tossed them out of the windows and the doors. Now, not shockingly, because of that, lots of people report that they see Confederate soldiers wandering through the halls of the courthouse to this day. And in fact, the courthouse personnel don't like to be the last one in this building. Now, I'm going to give you guys a chance to actually take some pictures, because if you guys got a chance to look at all the photographs that are in the shop there over on Lincoln Square, a lot of them come from this building right here, and we regularly get people seeing Confederate soldiers that are staring back at the photographs that they have taken. Now, in addition to that, I will tell you the traditional Gettysburg story is that people walk by late at night and see Confederate soldiers staring back at them out of the second floor window. I personally have never seen that myself, but I have seen evidence of the Confederate soldiers in this window. So guys, if y'all want to take a picture, we'll move on to our next location.
Back. He's back. You're not sick.
We have found Johnny Red!
Yeah! He's back.
You okay,
Oh,
buddy?
so is back.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
Okay. Alright, I'm going to turn you
Where'd you
guys
go?
over to the capable hands of Colin. Thank y'all for watching.
Sorry again, my apologies.
Thank you.
Thank you, Evie.
Thank you.
Okay.
Which window is the best one to take a picture of? Both these windows, and then of course the doorway.
Window, door.
Oh.
I want to apologize again. I've been doing battlefield tours since 7 a.m. this morning, so I think I got a little sick also. I didn't want to do it in front of everybody. So I was like, eh.
Can't blame you. It's I'm really just sweating. I'm really just sweating, and all I'm doing is sitting down out there.
Yeah.
And I've been drinking water all day, but I think it's
That,
just being
man.
out in the heat.
You got the full outfit on too.
Well, I had my I had all my gear on earlier. Woo. From 7 to 4 o'clock.
Hey, Dad.
Thanks for coming back.
But
Yeah.
the barn dogs come over to you something.
Leave me alone, Blake. Yes, we can go to Friendlies. We're going to Friendlies after this show.
That's fine. We're going to. Where are we going?
Where you going?
The Eden?
No.
Oh,
We're gonna make
get
it up
friendly.
to you. We're gonna do some VIP stuff too at the end of the tour. All right.
VIP stuff.
I actually thought it was part of the tour and you were gonna scare us later. No, my apologies. I just
See
all
that
of a sudden
goose?
got real sick real quick, and I was like,
Just
oh.
kidding.
Glad you're alright, buddy.
Everybody.
Everybody getting sick, man. When
Still
it's
trying to
this
get back,
outside.
trying to get in shape for reenactment season, Been,
You need to shed some of that. We'll carry it.
I'm good.
That's some pretty.
Well, I said from 7 to about 4 o'clock today, I had all my wool on, including my jacket, and I was carrying 125 pounds, including my rifle. So,
So can you imagine? That's what they wore July
Yeah.
1st, 2nd, 3rd.
yep.
Like,
And also on campaign and marching all the time
So,
in the heat.
you gotta think was- that's
pre-global died.
pre-global.
It is pre-global warming, but it's still hot
I
outside.
was doing some drilling. I was doing some stuff for some
And global warming was still a thing back then, right? But, well, it was like, was it still getting more hotter outside every single day?
No, it was still hot in July. It was summer. It was still hot as crap.
I know about that.
Especially like they didn't
I'm-
like they
I'm
had
t-
full wool like outfits on.
I'm talking about, did they have gas powered like things? Did they have gas powered things?
No.
They didn't have one thing to power
No, there
gas.
was no combustible engine.
Okay, how about coal?
They had coal.
Yeah.
Well then, yes.
Yeah,
So,
but
like,
it wasn't like
global warming still exists back then.
just come.
Like I said, I just didn't want to do it in front of all the kids.
No, I understand, but I just need to be prepared.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Oh. All right. I promise the rest of the tour will be a lot better. My apologies again.
It's all good, man. It's all
All
good.
right.
About, man.
Now, the reason why we stopped here is actually all 3 of these buildings were actually used as field hospitals right here. The 2 buildings right here are now offices and apartments. The one right here is the Airbnb. In all 3 buildings, people have actually heard footsteps, whispers, and of course in the Airbnb, they've actually seen full body apparitions and shadow figures standing at the end of people's bed at night. So if you guys ever want a cool place to stay while you're here in town, come check out the Airbnb here.
I'm gonna burn.
Now the library across the way, of course the library was not here during
Seriously,
the Battle of
someone does that.
Gettysburg,
Yeah, we'll burn.
but that area was. Well, good friends of ours at Ghost City, we knew a lady that worked there for about 2 weeks. Well, the second week she was working there, she had to close all by herself. And she was not a big believer in the paranormal. Well, the one night that she had to close her second week, it was about 6:30 in the evening on November. And she's there putting all the books away late at night. Around 6:30, 7 o'clock, she's going aisle by aisle putting books away. Next thing she knows, when she's about to go down another aisle, she sees 3 Confederate soldiers standing there in the aisle. Well, she doesn't believe in ghosts, so what does she do? She actually hightails it out. She leaves the building, leaves the lights on, the doors locked, gets in her car and drives all the way back to Chambersburg. She calls her boss right then and says, I quit. The boss says, what do you mean? She says, well, you wouldn't believe it if I told you. And he said, well, tell me. Well, she said, I was putting the books away like you told me to do, doing all the end of the night thing, and I'm going down this aisle, and all of a sudden 3 Confederate soldiers are in this aisle. I don't believe in that stuff. It scared me. So I left. The doors are still unlocked. The lights are on. The keys are on the desk. I quit. I'm not coming back. Like I said, lights are on, keys are on the desk. Good luck. Now, when she comes back here in town, she doesn't even come in this area. She would drive around High Street to go around this building. Even walk around it. She would not go towards the library at all because of her experiences.
I quit and I am never coming back here in my life. I quit and never come back in my life, man. That's it right there. I quit and I've never come back in my life.
I think we'll come through.
That's true. Okay.
I'm fine with him.
All right, now, everyone always loves the church right here because of the architecture, but we're actually not going to be talking about that church. We're going to be talking about the one right across the way. That is the Presbyterian Church. That was used by General Buford and his cavalry the first part of July 1st in the morning. Now, when the Union was starting to actually leave town, when the Confederates were pushing them out of town here, it was then taken over by the Army of Northern Virginia. People in that church actually have seen full-body apparitions, one of a soldier in his bloody uniform, another one of a nurse with blood all over her apron. They also have seen shadow figures laying in the pews. They've heard moaning and groaning. They've even heard a soldier crying for his mother in the church. Now, it is still used as a church every Sunday. Well, the activity in this church, people are so used to it, to the point where women will actually feel like their hair is being played with. Men will actually feel like someone's tapping on the shoulder. People even hear whispers in their ears. And they even hear footsteps when, of course, they're having service. But they're just so used to it because they know the history of the church. Well, it's also very famous because when President Lincoln gets done giving the Gettysburg Address, they want to do a huge celebration, a huge send-off for Abraham Lincoln. They want to do it right here. Well, when they start walking down here, he tells everyone in town, I want to meet this guy, John Burns. Everyone keeps telling me about this guy, John Burns.
Got to
So
save
some of
the
the
town.
people go down and try to get John Burns. They knock on John Burns' house. They say, John Burns, President Lincoln wants to meet you. John Burns, being an old grumpy man, all of a sudden says, I don't believe you. If he wants to meet me, he'll come down here to my house himself and come get me. Well, Lincoln stays here and he's waiting and he's waiting. He gets so tired of waiting, he goes and gets John Burns. And they walk hand in hand up Baltimore Street. They
That's
start
cool.
walking up the church steps. Lincoln is about 2 steps in the door of the church. All of a sudden, behind him, he hears, you're not invited. Someone from town or the security staff is trying to stop John Burns from coming in. Well, Lincoln hears this, turns around, puts his hand down, says, everybody, this is John Burns, and he is my guest, let him through. And they actually walk all the way up to the front of the church, sit in the front left pew, and they sit there for the entire celebration. Well, John Burns, being an old man, like I was telling you guys earlier, he gets so tired during the celebration, he actually puts his hand on Lincoln's shoulder and falls asleep. They have to wake him up afterwards. Another president used to come here every Sunday for service with his wife, and that was President Eisenhower. He would come here every Sunday for service. There is a plaque in that church of where they sat every Sunday. While you guys are here in town, I highly recommend you guys go check out the Eisenhower Farm. And while we're walking past the church, there's actually the most beautiful window here in Gettysburg. It's a stained glass window behind that tree, and it shows you what the church looked like back then in the 1800s.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
That's really cool.
Vänta, jag en kvar.
No, I'm been serious.
There. No. This is actually very cool. Hello. We are not dying here from the heat. Let's check about how much hot is outside right now. I have about over 9 degrees right now. Just because it's you know, nighttime. It's a bit colder, but it's not kind of hotter outside. So something right here, and you know, heck, with the heat, man. Yeah, that's it. I can buy me for a lot because I am making hot as sweat off my face. That's really shit. So yeah, so
All right, we are here at the Gettysburg Museum. Raise your hand if you've seen the show Pawn Stars or American Pickers before. All right, well, you might have seen this gentleman. His name is Eric. He is the historian that they would call in if they had any questions. He's actually about my height, but long black hair and a ponytail. This is his own personal collection museum. Wow. The great thing about this museum, it's free. He does take donations though, but he's got everything from, of course, the Battle of Gettysburg and the Civil War, all the different wars of America. He's also got stuff from presidents, actresses, singers, you name it. He's got stuff from JFK, Eisenhower, Roosevelt, Nixon. He's got stuff, of course, from Marilyn Monroe, Elvis Presley, Johnny Cash. One of the things in here, he's got JFK's suit. Right next to that, he's got Marilyn Monroe's bra. And right next to that, he's got Elvis Presley's sunglasses and jumpsuit. So he's got a lot of great things in here. So I highly recommend you guys come check it out. Like I said, it's a free museum. It was used as a field hospital, but he's not really big into the paranormal, but he has said he's heard footsteps and voices from time to time here, which doesn't shock me with all the history and artifacts he has in this building. I wouldn't be shocked that there's a lot of energy attached to those items.
Museum.
Be very careful.
If it's not hot here next year, it's fun to visit that place. Sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, it's free too.
That's free museum. Why don't we go?
Yeah.
Hey, maybe take a video of it. Dad, I delete all the videos after I post them on YouTube.
Unless in
Father, I delete all the videos once they're uploaded to Facebook.
YouTube.
YouTube, yeah.
I don't think you can even upload videos at that on Facebook. I don't think you can even upload videos at that on Facebook, Dad. I don't even have Facebook.
You guys can say hi to Smokey the cat. He's always here hanging out and saying hi to him.
Where's Smokey the cat? Can I say hi to Smokey the cat? He's in the window. Oh my God, Smokey.
Alright, you gotta get off. One.
What is it, real cat? Hi, Smokey the cat.
You can't really see it, but the cat's
Here's
there.
real cat. It's moving.
I trust you. The cat's there. I trust you. The cat's there. The cat is there. Something like that. On to something else now. Real quick.
Bush Grayish house right there. That is the Jenny Wade birth house. I know a lot of people seem confused because they're like, hold on, this is the Jenny Wade house up the street with her statue with the loaf of bread. The house up the street is actually her sister's house, Georgia's. She started renting that in 1862. But Georgia and Jenny grew up here in this house. Her room was those two top right windows above the right side door there. Now, before I start talking about the house more and Jenny, I'm going to talk about three really good friends that grew up here in Gettysburg. Jenny Wade, Jack Scully, and Wesley Culp all grew up together here in Gettysburg. Well, 2 years before the war, Jack Scully and Wesley Culp leave here and they go down to Virginia. And they work for the Studebaker Company building carriages. They make a lot of money, great money. During that time, Wesley Culp gets engaged to a Virginia girl. He also joins the Virginia militia, which later becomes the 2nd Virginia part of the Stonewall Brigade. Well, when the war is about to break out, Jack Scully tells Wes, we got to get back up to Gettysburg. There's going to be a war. Wesley Culp says, Jack, I am home. My fiance's here. My militia's here. All my other friends are here. I'm staying here. And he does. And he fights in almost every major engagement the first 2.5 years of the war. Well, Jack Scully comes back up here and he's heartbroken, of course. But he comes up here, he gets engaged to Jenny Wade. He also joins the Pennsylvania unit. Well, a couple weeks before the Battle of Gettysburg, there's the Battle of Winchester. Jack Scully is mortally wounded at the Battle of Winchester. When the 2nd Virginia is going through parts of Winchester, Wesley Culp sees his best friend laying on a stretcher next to her house. Wesley Culp runs over and says, oh my God, Jack, please don't tell me it was me that shot you. And of course, Jack says, no, you're my best friend. We always promised each other. If we ever saw each other across the field of battle, we would never shoot at each other. Well, he says, are you going to be okay? He says, no, I was told it's mortal. Well, unfortunately, Jack Scully passes away of his wounds on July 12th. But before he does, before Wesley Culp leaves him, he says, I need you to do me a favor. I have a letter here. It's got my blood on it for Jenny. Make sure whenever you get back home to Gettysburg, you give this letter to Jenny and break the news to her. And Jack Scully passed away on July 12th. Now, a couple of days before the Battle of Gettysburg, Georgia, Jenny's sister, has a baby. All right, so Georgia and her mom leave the house here and go up the street to help Georgia. Now, Jenny's father's not here because at the time he is in Eastern State Penitentiary Jail. He was not a nice guy. He was a town drunk and a thief. So they leave. Well, on the evening of July 1st, Wesley Culp comes here once they actually have full control of the downtown area. And he comes here to try to deliver that letter to Jenny, but she's not here. She is up the street, and he did not know that. Well, unfortunately, Wesley Culp is fighting on his family's property on Culp's Hill and on Lower Culp's Hill called Wolf's Hill on July 2nd and 3rd. Unfortunately, on July 3rd, he is actually killed in battle. They never find his body, but they do find his rifle. Story has it that his sisters found his body and buried it somewhere on the family's property. Well, Jenny Wade then is on July 3rd. She is in the cellar with her sister and mother and the baby up the street. Well, around 12 noon, there has been no gunfire. So Jenny tells her mom and sister, I'm going to go up outside and find out what's going on. So she leaves the cellar. She goes up out of the house. She starts talking to some of the soldiers on Cemetery Hill. She says it's a battle over. Of course, they say, we don't know. We don't know what's going on. Well, while she's up there, she says, while I'm here, let me make you all some bread. So she starts baking them some bread. Well, a little bit after 1 o'clock, all the gunfire starts happening. And a mini ball goes through the one door, goes through the second door where Jenny is, goes through her back, through her heart, gets stuck in a corset, and she falls and passes away. So all three best friends all are gone between July 3rd and July 12th. Now, Jenny Wade, though, that story does not end. She is buried 3 separate times here in Gettysburg. The first time is up the street in her sister's garden. The next one is actually she has moved to the Trinity Church Cemetery on High Street. And then when Evergreen Cemetery opens up, her body is moved from there up to Evergreen Cemetery. Now where she is buried in Evergreen Cemetery though, she's one of 2 women with a perpetual flag at their gravesite in history. The only other woman that has the perpetual flag is Betsy Ross. There is a 3rd woman that they're talking about giving it to her, and her name is Molly Pitcher. She's actually from Carlisle, Pennsylvania, not far from here. Her husband fought at the Battle of Monmouth. He was wounded during that battle. Molly Pitcher took over. She grabbed the ramrod. She was helping fire in the artillery. During that battle, a British shell goes between her legs and rips off half of her skirt. Well, where she is buried, she's got a ramrod like this. She's got 2 artillery pieces next to her. It is freaking awesome. They're talking about giving her a perpetual flag here soon. I really hope she does, because I really think she deserves it, and then other women in history will start to get it. Now, before we leave this area, I'm going to show you guys another picture. And this picture is actually caught by the lady that was here helping me, Evie. Her husband and I were coming back up here one night about 11:30 at night. And I'll walk down the line and show you guys exactly what we caught.
Didn't think ghosts would be over. There it is.
I'm going to come up and show you all. This was at 11 o'clock at night. We heard a tapping on the window, and there was that window right there next to the door on the right. And this is what we caught.
It's like one of those open windows right there. I think they got that open window or that open window.
We're not sure if that's Jenny, but the interesting fact is, though, there was a team that did an investigation here a couple years ago. And when they're in Jenny's room, which is that room right there above the right side door, they were doing a live EVP session. During that session, they said, is anybody here? All of a sudden, a female voice comes out, says, I'm Jenny. Okay, well, the next question they asked is, anybody with you, Jenny? All of a sudden, same female voice comes out, says, I'm with Jack. Which, so it's very sweet to think that Jack Scully and Jenny Wade are back together in the afterlife here in the house.
They never left.
Okay, let's go. Wait, what were you
He's
saying?
gonna be looking for
No,
it.
he's gonna be looking for us. Oh, I thought you meant walk with them. No, we have to tell him. I'll tell him. I'll tell him.
They're a group of 7.
Yeah, I know.
7 down.
What's up? Where you guys at?
Hey guys.
Yep. See you guys there.
That light down there.